Imagine you're walking down a street in a foreign country, and suddenly the person in front of you just collapses.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a total nightmare scenario.
Right. It is a terrifying, high-stakes medical emergency. And in that split second, you do not have the cognitive bandwidth to mentally open a textbook.
No, absolutely not.
You can't just locate the chapter on medical vocabulary, conjugate the verb to faint, and try to construct this grammatically perfect plea for an ambulance.
Right, because your brain is completely consumed with the crisis.
Exactly. You need a reflex. You need your mouth to just deploy the words automatically while your brain deals with the panic.
Which, I mean, that completely upends how we traditionally view language acquisition.
Right.
We often assume learning a language requires mastering the theory first, memorizing vocabulary lists, studying syntax rules.
Treating it like a math problem.
Yeah, treating the language like this complex math problem that you have to solve on paper before you ever speak a single word of it in the real world.
But that theoretical approach, well, it might help you pass a written exam, but it completely falls apart when you actually need to function as a human being in a complex, fast-moving society.
100%.
So welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today for you listening is to explore a document that initially looks like, well, just a standard educational tool, but it is actually this profound map of human behavior and survival.
It really is.
We are analyzing a transcript from day 9 of a 30-day language learning program called English Decoded.
Right. And just for some context, it's a session led by 2 instructors, David and Emma, and it's aimed at ESL learners.
Okay.
During this specific lesson, they introduce a list of 99 English sentences. But what makes this source material so compelling isn't just the sentences themselves.
Right. It's how they teach them.
Exactly. It's the underlying methodology they use to teach them and the highly specific sequence in which they present human priorities.
So to understand the brilliance of those 99 sentences, we really have to look at the delivery mechanism first. Because David and Emma don't just read the list and tell the listener, hey, take notes.
No, they use a technique called shadowing.
Shadowing, right.
And the structure of shadowing is straightforward, but it's actually incredibly demanding on the brain. Basically, David or Emma speaks a sentence at a natural conversational pace.
Okay.
Then they significantly slow down the playback of that same sentence. And finally, they leave this designated pause for the learner to repeat the phrase out loud.
So it forces them to mimic the exact rhythm and intonation.
Yeah, the rhythm, the intonation, the pronunciation. Emma actually states the philosophy really clearly in the source. She says, your mouth needs the practice just as much as your ears do.
I love that. And that framing is crucial, right? Because it completely shifts language from an intellectual exercise to a physical one.
Exactly. It's a physical act.
It makes me think about, like, learning to drive a car with a manual transmission.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right. Because when you first sit in the driver's seat, the cognitive load is just immense. You're consciously thinking about the clutch, the gear shift, the gas pedal, the RPMs all at the same time.
Yeah, you're using your prefrontal cortex for all of that.
Right, the part of the brain responsible for complex planning. It takes so much active thought that you can't even, hold a conversation while you do it.
You have to turn down the radio just to look for a parking spot.
Yes, exactly. But if you practice that physical motion enough times, your brain literally alters its physical structure to optimize the movement.
Right. The process is called myelination.
Myelination, yeah.
Every time you repeat the physical action of shifting gears, or in the case of shadowing, moving your tongue, your lips, and your vocal cords to form specific foreign sounds, your brain wraps those neural pathways in a fatty substance.
And that's the myelin.
That's the myelin. It acts like insulation on an electrical wire, which allows the brain's signals to travel much faster and way more efficiently.
So you are physically building this high-speed neural highway for that specific action.
Precisely that. The brain delegates the task away from the high-energy prefrontal cortex, and it moves it down to the motor cortex and the basal ganglia, which handle our automatic habits.
Wow.
Yeah, so by forcing the learner to speak out loud over and over, David and Emma are using myelination to bridge the gap between conscious translation and unconscious reflex. You don't have to think about the words anymore.
The muscle memory simply takes over.
Exactly.
Which means you have to be incredibly careful about which reflexes you choose to build.
Yeah.
I mean, if you practice a terrible tennis swing for 100 hours, you just end up with a permanently terrible tennis swing.
Right. You've just myelinated a bad habit.
Exactly. And this brings us to the actual content of those 99 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the beginning of this curriculum, they completely bypass the traditional starting points.
Yeah, there is no hello, my name is, or where's the library?
None of that. They drop the listener straight into the kitchen with sentences like, could you chop the onions, please? And add a pinch of salt to the soup. Alongside phrases like, could you pass me the frying pan and let it simmer for 10 minutes?
It really forces us to reconsider what foundational language actually means. Because traditional textbooks, they teach you how to be an observer or a tourist.
Right, standing on the outside looking in.
Exactly. But David and Emma are teaching you how to be a participant in collaborative survival. The kitchen is the universal hub of human cooperation. Preparing a meal together requires immediate, action-oriented coordination.
Yeah, you are in the trenches making dinner together. And it requires an entirely different vocabulary than simply ordering a coffee from a barista.
It really does. It's about managing shared tasks.
And that theme of physical, immediate navigation, it extends straight out of the front door and directly into their exploration of public transit.
Right, because the transition from the kitchen to the wider world requires phrases designed to move a physical body through a shared society.
Yes, the spatial mechanics of society.
Exactly. The source material focuses heavily on spatial and temporal logistics here. Phrases like, what time does the next bus arrive? Is this seat taken? And that universal warning, mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Right. These are the mechanics of existing safely in a crowd, which I think sets up the psychological foundation for the most striking part of this early curriculum.
Oh, the emergency section.
Yes. We go from asking about the next bus directly into severe medical emergencies. The source document includes sentences like, please call an ambulance right away, someone fainted, please come quickly, I need help immediately, and where is the nearest hospital?
And going back to our earlier discussion about the prefrontal cortex, emergencies create a really unique neurological crisis.
Why so?
Well, during an accident or a severe medical event, a person's cognitive load just skyrockets. The brain's amygdala triggers a panic response, and your executive function essentially shuts down.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, you lose access to complex problem-solving skills, which absolutely includes the ability to piece together foreign vocabulary on the fly.
Which is exactly where that manual transmission analogy hits its peak. Right? If a pedestrian steps out in front of your car, you don't actively think about moving your foot to the brake pedal.
No, the reflex happens before you're even consciously aware of the danger.
Right. So by deeply ingraining a prepackaged script like someone fainted, please come quickly, through repetitive shadowing, the language itself becomes a life-saving reflex.
Exactly.
You just bypass the cognitive paralysis of the panic response and deploy the script automatically.
It shows that the curriculum recognizes language as fundamentally a tool for survival. Because once physical safety, nourishment, and basic transit are secured, the baseline of human needs shifts.
We start looking outward.
Right. The focus naturally expands outward, moving from immediate physical logistics to the complex web of modern social connection and commerce.
And this is where the transcript reveals, honestly, a very accurate reflection of 21st century life. Because the next phase of the 99 sentences focuses heavily on family and social bonds. It features these grounding, timeless statements like, we usually have dinner together as a family. Family always comes first for me, and she's like a sister to me.
Right, very classic relational phrases.
But positioned right next to these intimate familial bonds, treated with the exact same level of linguistic importance, is navigating digital e-commerce.
Yes, the inclusion of online shopping reveals this incredibly pragmatic view of modern existence. The logistical realities of our daily lives have fundamentally changed.
They really have.
The sentences taught here like, I just placed an order online, could you track my package for me? I forgot to apply the discount code, and is free shipping available for this order? They reflect the new mechanics of hunting and gathering.
Right. When I first saw shopping online, treated with the same weight as family, I'm not going to lie, it felt a little jarring.
It does seem strange at first glance.
It does. But looking closer, it's just an honest acknowledgement of reality. A massive portion of our daily interactions are transactional and digital now. I mean, if you cannot articulate, can I get a refund for this product, you are at a severe disadvantage in the modern world.
Oh, totally. Navigating a digital shopping cart requires specific linguistic markers to ensure fairness and transparency in what is essentially a faceless environment.
Right. You're not talking to a human usually.
Exactly. It proves that language is a living, adaptable tool. I mean, 50 years ago, an essential transactional phrase might have been asking a local shopkeeper to put a loaf of bread on your tab.
Right?
Today, it is asking a customer service chatbot to track a missing delivery. The mechanism of commerce has changed, so the survival language has to adapt accordingly.
That makes total sense. But, humans cannot survive on logistics and commerce alone, which I think explains the pivot they make into entertainment and movies. After returning damaged packages and tracking deliveries, the transcript moves into phrases like, "What kind of movies do you enjoy? Let's book tickets for the new movie," and "Who's your favorite actor?"
Which is fascinating because entertainment serves a highly specific function in human sociology. Once you move past pure survival and transactional commerce, you need a mechanism to build alliances and foster trust.
So entertainment is like the bridge.
Exactly. The language of entertainment is the operating system for social bonding. Discussing the plot of a film or debating a favorite actor is rarely about transferring vital data, It's about finding common ground.
You're probing for shared values. Like if we both love the same movie, we likely share similar perspectives, which makes us part of the same tribe.
Right. It allows a new language learner to participate in the culture rather than just observing it from the outside. They aren't just surviving anymore, they are integrating.
And integration is definitely the operative word there, because it becomes even more explicit as the curriculum pushes the learner back out into the broader physical world.
Yes, the final sections of the document move away from personal preferences entirely.
Right. They dive directly into modern societal responsibilities, specifically focusing on the environment and nature. And the sentences in this section are fascinating to me because they are highly prescriptive.
They really are.
It isn't just about pointing at a tree and learning the word tree. The learner is shadowing sentences like, "We should recycle more at home. We need to reduce plastic waste. And protecting wildlife matters a lot to me."
Right. The language here actively encodes contemporary cultural values.
Yes.
By having the learner physically repeat these specific phrases, David and Emma are embedding the moral expectations of the community right into the learner's vocabulary.
Wow.
It provides the exact linguistic tools required to signal that you are a responsible, forward-thinking member of society.
It is essentially teaching the learner that to be considered a good citizen in this language ecosystem, you need to care about reducing plastic waste. It's such a profound use of a language exercise. It transfers a worldview, not just a vocabulary list.
Exactly.
And that worldview culminates in the final and probably the most stressful aspect of modern society explored in the document.
Oh, time management.
Time management.
The inescapable reality of clock time. The Industrial Revolution fundamentally shifted human experience away from event-based time, like eating when hungry or sleeping when dark, to rigid mechanical schedules.
Right.
And in the digital age, those schedules have been microsegmented to the minute.
I mean, just think about your own daily calendar. The phrases David and Emma chose for this final section, they capture a universal modern anxiety.
Oh, absolutely.
You have phrases like, "Could we reschedule our meeting, please? I'm running 5 minutes late. Let's set a deadline for this task, and sorry for keeping you waiting." I mean, if you are running even 5 minutes late to a virtual Zoom meeting, your heart rate actually spikes.
It does.
It feels like a massive social breach.
Because in a heavily scheduled society, punctuality is equated with respect. When you disrupt the schedule, you create social friction.
So language is the fix.
Right. Language, in this context, acts as damage control. "Sorry for keeping you waiting" is a vital social lubricant. It's designed to de-escalate the tension and repair those minor fractures caused by our obsession with optimization and productivity.
We spend our entire days desperately trying not to waste a single minute. But I love how this 30-day program caps off its day 9 lesson.
Me too.
Out of all 99 sentences dealing with medical panics, lost packages, and strict deadlines, the very last phrase, sentence number 99, is delivered by Emma. And she just says, "Better late than never, I suppose."
It's brilliant. It acts as a perfect release valve for the tension they just built up. After rigorously training the brain to manage strict schedules and constant productivity, the final takeaway acknowledges fundamental human fallibility.
It is incredibly human. It basically says, we built all these systems, we set all these deadlines, but at the end of the day, things fall apart. At least you showed up.
Right.
It brings the entire massive exercise back down to a grounded, forgiving reality.
Yeah, and when we pull back and look at the entirety of this deep dive, it becomes clear that this transcript is far more than a simple ESL exercise.
Much more.
It is a comprehensive masterclass in behavioral psychology and practical logistics. By utilizing the mechanics of shadowing, forcing the brain to build physical myelin pathways and bypass the prefrontal cortex. The program equips learners with automatic reflexes.
It really takes the learner on a complete journey of human needs. From the intimate, cooperative survival of chopping onions in a kitchen, to navigating public spaces, bypassing panic during medical emergencies, maintaining family bonds, managing digital commerce, bonding over shared stories, signaling moral values, and finally, just managing the relentless ticking of the clock.
And the source material actually ends with a very specific challenge from the instructors.
Right.
David and Emma advise their listeners to take at least 3 of these concepts or phrases and use them in a real conversation within the week.
Taking the theoretical muscle memory and forcing it into the friction of the real world.
Exactly.
Even if it is just asking a stranger on the bus, is this seat taken? Or admitting to a colleague that you need to set a deadline. Because the neural pathways are entirely useless if you never take the car out of the driveway.
That's spot on. Knowledge only holds value when it is applied. It requires stepping out of the safety of the learning environment and actively participating in the messy, unpredictable flow of actual communication.
Which brings us back to you, listening to this right now. We started by examining how this list of 99 sentences operates as a highly specific map of modern human priorities. It reflects the exact logistical and cultural hurdles of our current era.
It really does.
But it leaves a lingering question to ponder long after we finish today. If you had to distill your own entire life, your specific daily routines, your unique anxieties, your personal relationships, and your deepest moral values into a curriculum of just 99 essential sentences, what would they be?
That's a great question.
And how different would your map look from the one we explored today? Something to think about. Until next time, keep diving deep.